idea here. So proof number one, design and designer. Proof number two is what we call the first cause proof of God. There's a beginning, so there's a beginner. Number three is a whole different mahalach. I'll give it to you like this. This one is more intuitive. You have to sort of feel this one out a little bit. Let's imagine that you finish shir tonight, you leave late at night, you're walking on your way back to yeshiva, and you're walking down some corner street and you hear some screaming noises. Some old lady screaming, you know what's going on, you're scared, you run over there, you see this older lady sitting by an ATM machine. She just pulled out a bunch of cash. And there's some young guy beating her up, smashing her, grabbing her purse, trying to take all the money she has. And you're horrified. You take a brick, you throw it at the guy, you knock him out, she runs away, you saved her life. You call the cops, this guy's like this, you're sitting there, you call the cops, waiting for the cops to show up, pick up this guy. So imagine this guy says to you, he says, I don't get it. Why are you stopping me? What's it your business that I want to beat up old ladies and steal their money? I do this every night. This is my income. I work 2 hours a night, beat up about 3 ladies a night. I make an average of about 5,000 shekels a night, tax-free. I'm having a good life here, and you totally got in my way. Why? And you say to him, because you're an evil scumbag. That's why, because you shouldn't do things like that. He says, well, what's wrong with it? He said, what do you mean what's wrong with it? You're beating up an old lady, stealing your money. How is it not obvious to you that that's wrong? He says, well, tell me, what's wrong with it? I know you don't like it. I know you disapprove. I get it. You're obviously upset at me. But what's actually wrong with me beating up old ladies and stealing their money? So what answer do you think you could give this person to convince them that it's actually the wrong thing to do to hurt people and take their money? What's actually wrong about it? I know it sounds kind of obvious. Let's play it up. What's actually wrong? Yeah.
God created morals and morals.
Okay, so let's see. We're talking on an atheist level right now. Can we find a way of defining it as evil without bringing God into the picture? Can it actually be wrong without saying God is what deems it as wrong? That's really the question. Yeah.
The same way you wouldn't want someone doing it to him, you should do something else.
So the rule in life should be that I'm only allowed to do things to people if they're the kind of things I'd want them to do to me. Who says that's the rule? I mean, it sounds kind of nice and, equality and all that stuff, but maybe the rule in life is I can do it as long as I get away with it. Who made up the rule that you can only do things to people that you don't? Who says life is supposed to be fair, basically? It might be your opinion. It might be a rule you would like to live by or you would like society to live by. It doesn't make it true. It's just your own version of what you think morality should be. Yeah?
That's the way society has been evolved in the sense that society has, the rules of society have been stealing is bad, hitting someone is bad. That's just the way we're raising.
Good. Okay, so we're raising right now kind of 2 possible answers. Let's actually put them down. The first reason you might call it wrong is you're just saying on a personal level, you think it's wrong. And because you think it's wrong, I can't do it. Which is kind of silly if you think about it. If it's just your opinion versus mine, it doesn't make it actually wrong. You have an opinion, I have an opinion. You have a right to your opinion, I have a right to my opinion. If the only thing wrong with it is you don't like it, it doesn't make it not right. It just means you don't like it. I have a friend I went out for ice cream with a while ago. We were sitting in a cafe on a Motzei Shabbos. We both ordered a bowl of strawberry ice cream. He told the waiter to come over and he ordered a cup of tahina to put on his ice cream. So he's pouring tahina all over the ice cream. I'm looking at this guy like, you are gross. Tahina on strawberry ice cream? Like on chocolate ice cream, maybe I could hear it. But on strawberry, that's disgusting. He says, Moshe, you don't like it, don't eat it. It's my ice cream, I can do whatever I want with it. You don't like beating up old ladies, so don't do it. I can't do it because you don't like it? That's kind of silly. If the only thing wrong with it is you don't like it, you have no right to impose your personal values on me and tell me I can't do it. So second answer is, it's not just you, your idea, it's social. Society decides morality. It's not wrong because you personally don't like it. It's wrong because our whole society has a rule that we've all agreed to that says you don't go around beating up and hurting innocent people. What makes it wrong? Society says it's wrong. It's wrong because society has made up rules. What's wrong with saying that society is the source of what's right and wrong? What's difficult about that?
Society decides it's correct to beat up old ladies, your argument falls away.
Good. So are there any examples of a society that even an atheist would say are bad societies? Atheists ever disagree with other societies?
Yeah.
Most atheists don't like ISIS going around beheading people. Most atheists don't think Nazi Germany was a particularly good idea. Even Jewish atheists, especially Jewish atheists. Most atheists don't think that racism is a good thing, even in societies that are full of racism. Meaning, anytime you're willing to label a society as bad, if society is bad, it means society doesn't get to decide what's good and bad. You're saying, no, there's some higher value. There's things that are right and wrong, that society can be a good or a bad society. Which means it's not decided by you, it's not decided by society. Otherwise, let the Nazis do what they want. That's what they believe in. No, they're wrong. Well, who says? What makes them wrong? Your society is different than theirs, so yours is right and theirs is wrong. Like, where did that come from? There's a famous case of this I like to say over that. I read this in a book many years ago. This professor, it's a true story, professor in Chicago was giving a class to a group of college students about morality and about society and about different values. And anyway, the students in class were saying, listen, it's all relative, and you can't judge another society by your standards. It's very politically incorrect to, who's right and who's wrong. Everyone has their own values, and it's all relative, and it's all subjective. Anyway, the professor says, listen, there's things that are right and things that are wrong. And all these liberal students were saying, no, it's all relative. It all depends on where you come from. There's no ultimate right and wrong and whatever. So the professor asks the students this question. He says, let's imagine you are a British soldier stationed in India in the 1940s. Okay? India was under British control until 1947. You're a British soldier stationed in India, a little Hindu village somewhere in the mountains of India. These Hindus, these very religious Hindus, you're the soldier guarding this village. You see the Hindus get together one day, build a big bonfire in the village. You don't know what's going on. You've never seen this before. You've never been to India before. You don't know what's going on. I think it's a holiday or something. Then you see they go to a little hut. They take a man who had died, an older man, and they're dragging him over to the fire. So you say to these Hindus, like, what are you guys doing? And they say, our Hindu religion teaches us that when a man dies, the only way his soul can go to heaven is you have to burn his body on a fire. Now, you think it's kind of gross. You've never seen that. They don't do that in London, right? But okay, listen, that's what they believe. Who am I to judge? That's fine. So they go ahead, they burn the body. Smoke and the smell and everything else, but you're not going to judge them. Then they go back into the hut. They take out the man's wife, the widow. They're taking her to the fire. There's only one problem. What's the problem? She's alive. They're dragging her to the fire, and she's saying, help, save me, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. So you say to the Hindus, like, what are you guys doing now? And they say, Hinduism teaches us that when a man dies and goes to heaven, his wife has to go at the same time. So the practice in Hinduism is we burn widows alive. They actually do. I'm not making this up. It's illegal in modern-day India, but Hinduism for thousands of years had a practice of burning women alive. They're dragging this woman to the fire. She doesn't want to die. So the professor asks the class, he says, what would you do? You could either shoot your gun in the air, scare them all away and save her life, or you can say to yourself, who am I to judge these Hindus by my Western standards? Yes, it's true, in England we don't burn women alive, but okay, that's just my society. Their society does burn women alive. Who am I to say there's anything wrong with that? He asks the class, how many of you would just stand there and let this woman be burned to death? Nobody put up their hands. How many of you would shoot your gun in the air and scare them away? And basically say, the Western values are good and Hindu's values are bad. Nobody put up their hands. So he says to the class, like it's one or the other. You save your life, you don't. What would you do? He says the class had a 45-minute debate about what they would do in that situation. He said at the end of the 45 minutes, the whole class all agreed. They all came to the same conclusion. You know what their conclusion was? That the English shouldn't have been in India. Problem solved. Now, this question is going to be very irritating for any liberal student you ever meet. Because they all want to say, of course society decides values. No, but you can't do that. You can't burn. Well, why not? That's what society wants. Nazis decide to kill Jews. Hindus decide to burn women alive. ISIS wants to go around beheading people. Oh, you don't like that? You think it's actually wrong? Well, then society doesn't decide morality, and neither do you. So what does? What decides? It's not the individual. It's not society. What makes anything wrong? What's wrong with me beating up old ladies and stealing their money? It's not that you don't like it. It's not that society has rules against it. So what's actually wrong? So the third answer people often give is it's global. It's not me. It's not my society. It's the world. Since most of the world thinks that burning women alive is bad, that's what makes it bad. Since most of the world believes that Nazism is wrong, that's what makes it wrong. Since most of the world doesn't beat up old ladies in the ATM machines, so therefore it's wrong. It's not me. It's not any one group. It's the sentiment of the whole world's morality. Whatever most of the world believes is wrong, that's what's kovea, what's right and wrong. What's wrong with that argument?
Why does he have to be subjected to the world's opinion?
Exactly. It's really just the same. So most of the world believes in something, therefore I can't do what I want. I actually read an article in an airline magazine. I read an actual article that said, they interviewed people all around the world. They said that 52% of travelers, this is an actual statistic, 52% of travelers steal towels from hotels. Now when I read that, I didn't think, oh, good, now it's okay. I thought, no, 52% of people are just doing something wrong. Even if it was 80%, it doesn't now become okay. It means people think it's okay. It's still wrong. Right? If the Nazis, Chas v'shalom, won the war and the world was 60% Nazi, we wouldn't say, okay, we better turn ourselves in. The Nazis are right. No, it means 60% of the world is wrong. So if we're willing to call anything wrong, it's not because of me or you. It's not because of our society. It's not what most of the world happens to think. There must be something else that decides morality. There must be some other source for it. Can you imagine any other possibility? If you look at all the new atheists today, like Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins, they have a whole different argument that goes beyond all these, and they would say it's called genetics. Why is it wrong for me to beat up old ladies? Why is it wrong to burn women alive in India? Because genetically we are programmed to help the human species survive. We feel bad when we hurt people. We feel bad when we steal. We feel bad when we create insecurity in the world. We feel bad when we kill people. Why? Because it goes against your genetic desire to propagate the human species. It's bad for human survival when people are violent. So it's not society. It feels bad. And it feels bad because genetically we're programmed not to do things like that. We all feel bad when we do things that are wrong. Why do we feel bad? Because genetically you're programmed not to do things that are wrong. You're not to do things that are going to hurt other human beings. It's wrong because your genes say so. It's wrong because your genes give you the feelings of being, finding it distasteful to hurt other human beings. Genetics. So what's wrong with that argument? It's wrong because your genes make you feel strong. So animals do have, actually. Animals for sure have it. Animals will kill other species but not their own species. Animals will generally abide by some level of morality that's good for their own species to survive. Right? Lions have dogs, cats have no problems killing small animals. They wouldn't kill of their own because they want their species to survive. So we do the same thing. Huh? Say again? Among human beings? We kill the weak and the oppressed. We kill the ones we can get away with killing. Right? I beat up the old ladies at the ATM machine. I'm not going to beat some guy coming home from a gym because he's stronger than me. We do pick on people that are smaller than us, weaker than us, because we'll be able to get away with what we want. But we feel bad about it because of our genes. So the simple argument is this, if you think about it. The simple argument is, just because your genes give you a feeling of something, who says you got to listen to your genes? No, you can't do it because your genes aren't going to make you feel bad. Okay, so I'll feel bad. Can I not feel bad if I want to feel bad? Right? My genes tell me to eat. If I want to lose weight and ignore my genes and starve for a couple of days, am I allowed to do that? Who says you got to listen to your genetics? No, you feel bad, so you can't do it. So I feel like feeling bad. What's wrong with feeling bad? If I'll make enough money, I don't mind feeling bad. We make that decision all the time. Anytime we do an Aveira, that's what we're doing. I know it's going to feel bad, but heck, it's worth it, at least for now. I might change my mind tomorrow morning and have harata, but in the meantime, I don't mind overcoming my feelings. If all it is feelings, who says you got to go with your feelings? So none of these really end up being an actual reason why things are actually right and wrong. If your argument to me, why I can't beat up the old ladies, is going to feel bad, okay, so it feels bad. I don't mind feeling bad. No, you can't do it because it feels bad. Who says? All of these ultimately remit to saying, so who says? Okay, so I'll tell you something, I'll just end on this point. It comes out really, if you think about it, that since none of these are a source of morality, but we still believe that it's wrong for me to beat the old lady, and we still believe it's wrong for Hindus to go around throwing women into fires, there must be something else beyond all of this that actually makes it wrong, and that's what we call God. There must be something beyond human opinion that's the source of what defines an act as good or evil. Now, I'm not saying at all, I'm not saying what good and evil are. We're not going to argue here, is abortion okay, is slavery okay, is capital punishment okay, is same-sex marriage okay? I'm not getting into the specifics. But what I am saying is on any issue that you want to decide if something is right or wrong, you first have to know that there's a thing called right and wrong. There's no point in me arguing with somebody at an abortion clinic about whether they get an abortion or not without agreeing that one of us is wrong. Either it's okay or it's not okay. That's only possible if there's a God. With no God, we're a bunch of animals. We have our feelings, we have our instincts, we have our desires, we have our social rules. We try not to get caught. Everything is really okay. I mean, the point we're making, just to summarize it quickly, the point I'm making here essentially is, if you believe in good and evil, if you actually believe it's wrong for me to beat up the old lady, or you believe it's wrong to behead people, like ISIS does, if you believe it's wrong, if you believe in good and evil, then it really means you believe in God. You can't have a sense of good and evil without believing in God. Any atheist who ever says, yeah, the Nazis were wrong, or the Hindus are wrong, or it's wrong to beat up old ladies, if it's really wrong, then it basically means you believe in God. Just 1 minute. So I'll tell you what happens occasionally. I'll end on this point. It happens occasionally when I really push this point on people. I had this a couple of months ago. I was making this point in a class to a group of guys. There was one guy in the class, was a really strong atheist. He really didn't believe in this. And he says, Rabbi, you convinced me. You convinced me that if I believe in good and evil, it means I believe in God. But you know what? I'm so sure there's no God that all you've really convinced me of is there's no good and evil. There's nothing actually wrong with anything because I don't believe in God. Like, murder isn't really wrong. Like, it feels bad because I was raised that way and I might get caught and go to jail because society made rules about it. But be'etzem, if I don't believe in God, there's nothing wrong with anything. Murder's okay. Rape is okay. Stealing, like, everything is really okay. I'm like, oh gosh. I didn't convince this guy to believe in God. I convinced him not to believe in good and evil anymore. Like, there's really nothing wrong with anything. So I asked him a question. I said, okay, you really don't believe there's anything wrong with anything? So what if I could offer you right now, I'm going to take out a suitcase. I have here $100,000 cash. Okay, here's my offer. I'm going to give you a handgun. I want you to leave this building, go into the Rova, kill the first religious Jew you see. And I will give you $100,000 cash. There's no cops around. I paid off all the police. There's no video cameras. I guarantee you won't get caught. $100,000 cash, kill a total stranger. There's nothing really wrong with it, according to you, so go for it. Would you do it? He said, no, I couldn't do that. I said, why not? He says, because it just feels so bad. It's okay. It's just a feeling. There's nothing actually wrong with it. There's nothing actually wrong with it. Go for it. He said, no, I couldn't. I said, well, why not? He said, because it just feels... Okay, but your feelings are getting away $100,000. What if I made it $1 million? Would you do it then? No, I still couldn't. It would just feel terrible. Hurting an innocent person like that, it just feels so wrong. I say, but according to you, there's nothing really wrong. He says, you're right. It's not actually wrong, but it just feels so wrong that I couldn't do it. I've been so conditioned to feel bad that I will feel bad even though there's nothing actually wrong with it. I said, okay, I have a solution for you. What if I gave you something called an amorality pill? An amorality pill. You take this pill, you will never feel bad about any act of evil you ever do. You'll never have no guilt at all, no bad feelings at all. You'll be able to get with it. You can rape people, you can murder people, you can steal from people, and you'll never feel bad. Take the pill, $100,000. You're scot-free. Go for it. He says, I couldn't do it. I said, why not? He says, it just feels so wrong. I'm like, so what? Why would your feelings get in the way of making $100,000, man? Like, you're crazy. Take the pill and your life is set. You can commit any crime you want and never have to worry about anything. He says, there's just something wrong with it. Once you hit that point of saying, yeah, there's just something wrong with it, what you're saying is, it's because there's a real right and wrong. And if there's a real right and wrong, it has to be because there's a God. Without God, nothing matters. Nothing makes any difference. Nothing wrong with anything. You hear the point? I'll just say I did have one. I've used this argument on many atheists. There was once a guy in my Aish class that said, we're in the middle of class, he says, you know what? He says, I would take that pill. He actually said it. He said, I would take that pill. I said, you know what? You take this pill, you're going to be able to rape people and kill people and hurt people and scam people. He said, yeah, I would do it, no problem. All the other guys in the class were like, this guy's dangerous. Like, he really, really doesn't have any problems hurting people. So I said to him, listen, I think you're a bit of a psychopath. I don't know what to tell you. I can't prove you wrong. I think you're not thinking so straight. Anyway, I didn't end up convincing him. That night he called me, like 11 o'clock at night, he calls me. He says, Rabbi, I've been thinking about it. I've been lying in here in bed thinking about it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't take the pill. I said, why not? He says, there's just something wrong with it. You're right, it's called God. If you're stopping yourself, it's because deep down you know there's a thing called God.